Hello everyone, my name is Trent and I am one of the coaches here at FitLab 3000. I've been coaching here for just over 8 years now, and outside of the gym I am a learning and development professional and have been doing so for just over 10 years. Basically what that means is I've been helping people to become the very best version of themselves. And what I propose to do or hope to do is share with you some of the key concepts and most effective concepts that have helped people that I've worked with across the years and seen the best results with them. So Stevie's mentioned that you're about to undergo the nutrition kickstart, and hopefully some of these concepts can help you see success along the kickstart. But more broadly, hopefully you can see some results or benefits applying it to both your professional and personal lives as well. So the first concept that we're going to be talking about today is mindset. Now, mindset is a very foreign, alien, and almost abstract concept. It's very hard to measure and quantify. If you were to punch it into Google, for example, you'll probably get about 100 different definitions. But in terms of today, let's put some context around it. When we talk about mindset, we're talking about one's own internal beliefs or innate belief around your ability to improve and grow, okay? And the work that I'm going to be sharing with you today, or the concepts, come from Dr. Carol Dweck, whom is a Harvard professor and behavioral psychologist. And Dr. Carol Dweck has theorized two different mindsets, okay? First being fixed and the second being growth. We may have heard those terms before, fixed and growth mindset, but we're going to delve into that a little bit more. Before we do that, what I'd like to share with you is the mindset model and how it actually works with our behaviors. So typically, when we undergo or attempt to change our behavior, it can be a very big task, we often go to our thoughts and our beliefs. And our thoughts and our beliefs lead to our emotions and our feelings, and that can lead to our behavior. So, for example, I might want to start running, I have the goal that I want to run a half marathon. And typically what that will mean is if I want to change my behavior, I'm going to need to feel good in order to start that change. So if I feel really motivated, like, yes, I really want to do this, I'm feeling good, I'll start running. Similarly, if I'm not feeling so good, that's going to also drive my behavior. So if I wake up and I'm sore and I'm tired and I don't really want to do it, I'm less likely to undergo that or execute that behavior. What we're going to be looking at is this next layer down. So this is the foundation of everything that we do. So our mindset leads towards our thoughts, feelings, which leads ultimately to our behaviors. So how we view our ability to improve will largely dictate and determine how we behave. So Dr. Carol Dweck and her team have demonstrated over multiple studies that those that operate from a growth mindset are much more likely to succeed in their lives than those that operate from a fixed mindset. So before we go into more detail, what I'd like to do is to kind of share the differences between the two mindsets. So if we look at the fixed mindset, that's where an individual has a innate belief that talents, skills, and abilities, they're static. It means that we get what we're given, there's a genetic component to it, so I was born this way and there's no way in which I can improve. Now, that might seem a little bit extreme, but we can all think of examples where we've looked at something and gone, oh, there's absolutely no way I can do that, okay? And that's largely adaptive, right? It comes from an evolutionary background around our cavemen and women ancestors who had a lot of perceived threats. So they had saber-toothed tigers trying to eat them, lions trying to kill them. They also had to find food as well, so they were always on high alert. However, our lives have evolved. We don't have the same level of threats, but the same parts of our brain haven't evolved in the same way. So you can see that there's a lot of fixed mindset beliefs that pervade our lives. We might notice it in ourselves or people that are close to us. Maybe we work with them, maybe they're their friends, family, etc. So with a fixed mindset, there's a real tendency or fixation on the outcome to get results. So what that means is people have a desire to look or appear a certain way, whether that be intelligent, I want to look smart, I want to look fit, I want to be better than everyone else, I want people to admire me, I want to be the best. And what that can lead to is challenge avoidant behavior. So because there's a binary view of win, lose, success, fail, there's a coping strategy to deal with the stress and anxiety of not being a success or not winning. It means that people are likely to avoid any kind of challenge. There can also be a fear of failure. We all have a level of no one likes to fail. Everyone wants to succeed, but it's actually an important part of our development and our growth. And if we don't challenge ourselves and fail to a degree, we're not going to learn and improve. There's also a tendency to give up very easily. So when there's adversity, we're likely to disengage from behaviour rather than persist. And then finally, there's a view that we need to be perfect. Perfection is an illusion that our minds make up. There is no such thing as perfection. However, the fixed mindset believes that perfection exists and we need to be perfect. So what that can mean is, because we want everything we do to be perfect, we're less likely to engage in a behaviour or learn something new if we're not perfect. So you can see how that leads us to not want to engage in a helpful behaviour. On the other side of the coin, we have a growth mindset. So this is an innate view that our skills and abilities can be developed over time if we put in the required effort. So the hallmarks of a growth mindset is that there's a real desire to progress. So the main differences between the two being chase progress, not perfection. Okay. So some hallmarks of the growth mindset is that there's a tendency to seek out challenge because there's a genuine desire to want to learn and improve. Similarly, failure is viewed slightly differently. It's viewed as a necessary component in order to improve. Okay, so failure is almost a learning. We've heard that probably before in our past, somewhere along the lines, like failure is an opportunity to grow or to learn. So it might sound cliche, but this is something that's required if we're going to pursue something that's meaningful and hard. And there are going to be times where we don't get the results that we're looking for, and that's okay. There's also a increased tendency to persist through adversity. So interestingly, there's a study from high school children that Dr. Carol Dweck studied, and there was a group of individuals whom she educated on the growth mindset and a control group who had no education around this concept of mindset. They gave them the same test, and what they found is overall, the children who were given the growth mindset education performed better overall. But not only that, they actually sought out harder quizzes and exams the next round. Whereas the children who were in the control group were more likely to request an easier exam the next time round, and not only that, they engaged in more cheating behaviour than those in the growth mindset group. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of an idea of the difference between the two, if we think about how that can help us in our life, depending upon which mindset we're operating from. Now, the key takeaway here is I don't want to almost villainize or demonize a fixed mindset to say a fixed mindset is good, fixed mindset is bad, growth mindset is good. That's not necessarily the case. As humans, we have a finite amount of resources in terms of time. We can't have a growth mindset, or we can't try and to improve in absolutely everything. It's just not possible. So we need to put our attention towards the things or activities that are meaningful and fulfilling for us. So to give an example, I am definitely not a singer. I know that. I don't have a desire to improve in that domain, and I don't have a great talent for it, as many people will probably confirm. So the key takeaway there is that We don't need to have a growth mindset towards absolutely everything. It's just, if there is something that I really want to improve on, I'm going to be much more likely to succeed if I operate from a growth mindset. Okay. So what do these two mindsets look like in terms of some of the language that you might hear around it? So this is really important because we need to notice our own self-talk, or what are we consciously saying to ourselves when we're trying to do something new. So for example, a fixed mindset, if I am looking to run a marathon, for example, and I start training for a marathon, doing some runs, I could be saying to myself, this is really hard, I'm not good at this, I haven't seen results yet, therefore what is the point in even trying? Okay, so I'm more likely to disengage from that behavior that's going to get me towards my goal. Versus a growth mindset, how can I turn this around? So I can acknowledge where I'm at. I'm new to this. I haven't done a lot of running in my life. I'm not there yet, and yet being a key word, it gives us a psychological space to give us some more balance, to go acknowledge where we're at, but also we have an opportunity to improve. So I want you to have a think about, it could be career orientated, it could be a fitness pursuit, it could be a personal pursuit of your own. And I want you to think about something that's quite scary or challenging, or something that you think, I'd never be able to do that. I'd like you to think about what are some fixed mindset statements towards that. I'd like you to think of 2 fixed mindset statements that you could have, just like in the example that I gave with the marathon running. And then what I'd like you to do is to try and turn those into growth mindset statements. So how can we give ourselves a little more balance, a little more psychological space, so that we're more likely to put work into the process and not necessarily focus on the outcome? Now, I hope that's helpful for you. If you're wondering, yes, growth mindset is great, I'm on board, but how do I improve, or how do I build a growth mindset? That's exactly what I'm going to be sharing with you in the next video. So stay tuned.